coming up right here on KPRC 2 Plus now at 8. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Zach Lajway. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, tomorrow is the final day of school for Houston Independent School District students. And this means our kids and teens will spend more time at home. From R&R to fun, it's vital parents and caregivers have conversations with their kids about safety. Sydney Zuiker, director of Crime Stoppers Safe Community Institute, is here to discuss ways to make sure our kids are safe for the summer months. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first things first, what should parents be doing now to ensure their child is safe throughout the next few months?
Well, we think that every day is a great day to start having safety conversations, really creating a safety mindset, talking about physical safety, emotional safety, online safety are conversations that you should be having right now. It kind of depends on the age of your child, though. If you're going to have your child stay home, maybe with a babysitter, then you should be talking about, safe touch, trusted adults. If your child is older, maybe a teen that's going to be home alone all summer, you could be having conversations where you kind of role play. What would you do if there was a medical or fire emergency? You should be creating those emergency contact lists and figuring out who would and could be available should your child need something when you're at work, so to say. Can they call you? Can they call another parent, an aunt, an uncle, a neighbor, and have those conversations about what to do if something is needed?
Sydney, what advice do you have for parents when it comes to hiring a sitter, someone to watch over their child over the summer?
It's a great question. First and foremost, you always want to do as many checks as you can. Everything from looking at the sex offender registry, checking, doing a background check if you can, call references. I think sometimes parents, you feel like you might be in a dire situation for childcare, but it's important to know how have other families felt about this babysitter. And it's great if that babysitter is certified in CPR, if they have some sort of medical training, even if it's just a short certificate, and that you ask questions about how they would handle specific situations. What would they do if you had an intruder in your home? What would they do if your child had a medical emergency? And make sure that you're comfortable with their line of thinking.
Oh, those are really good points. What about, is there some sort of registrar where folks can go to look at registered caregivers? I think back to like Rate My Professor or Rate My News Director. We have those types of sites as well.
Yes, you're showing your age, but there are some specific websites. There's not one overarching website, but there are now agencies that you can look online and kind of put in your parameters for what kind of babysitter, what kind of caregiver you're looking for. And then all of the caregivers on those lists will have a background check that's done through the company, and they'll kind of match you with those specific, or someone that would maybe work best for your family. However, I always encourage that you do your own research. Don't simply trust a company to check into their background, check their references. Make sure that you're asking those questions and doing your due diligence for your child.
Yeah. Talk to us about summer camps. What should parents and caregivers be on the lookout for when it comes to picking a camp for your child?
Summer camp safety has been a huge topic of discussion at Crime Stoppers for many years, and we've actually worked to get camp safety bills passed in the legislature for many years. But there are many elements to a summer camp, whether it's a day camp or a sleepover camp. There's water activities often involved, exposure to heat. Often there's camp counselors that are maybe young. So these are all things that you want to think about and talk to the camp about before deciding to send your child there. First of all, what is their emergency safety plan? Do they have what is necessary for someone to become a lifeguard in that environment, and what is their plan, their drowning action plan? And it's not just having a lifeguard on duty when kids are at the pool, because often what we see with unfortunately, unintentional drowning deaths, which is a huge percentage of deaths at camps, are that maybe a kid falls into a pool or a body of water when they're not supposed to be participating in water activities. So is there someone always watching the pool? You want to ask how often and in what way their staff is trained on things like sexual assault, and what is the reporting structure for that. And then you can look into what camps are ACA accredited. However, there's no major standard for what camps should have, which is something that has been passed, or something that has been in discussions for many years that we need. We need better oversight for camps so that parents and families can feel safe. Now, in addition to checking out the camp, you want to have conversations with your child specifically about what they do, what your family's kind of plan is if something should happen, if something should go wrong while they're at camp. What are you most comfortable with, and what should your student know? Regardless of what's going on in the summer, it's great to have, or year round, it's great to have like a family word or a family phrase that can be said or texted or emailed. That's kind of an SOS, I need help, that only your family knows, so that you know specifically, hey, my kid is saying whatever our family phrase is. Maybe it's something about monkeys and bananas. I don't know. But something that makes sense to your family that you know is a dire cry for help.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. My mother called myself and my brother recently to have this conversation with us about picking a family word in the event that something happens, and we're grown. So, moms will always be moms. Sydney, talk to us about technology. Everywhere we look, there's technology. We have technology and so many layers of that within our homes, from cameras to phones. Talk to us about how parents can use technology to ensure their kids' safety.
I love that question, because I often get asked the question, how is technology harming our students? And so I love that you're asking about how it can be used for good. The use of things like front doorbell cameras can really be helpful, especially if you have a child or a teen that's staying home alone. You can monitor who's coming and going from your home. Same with house cameras. And you can set some kind of guidelines for that usage. So, hey, if someone rings the doorbell, please wait for me as the parent to look and see who's at the doorbell, and let me as the parent respond. That's what's great about these cameras that have a speaker on them, is that you can have two-way communication. And also, if there looks like there's some sort of danger, that's something that you can work into your safety plan ahead of time. Hey, if someone approaches the doorbell that I feel unsafe or feel could be a dire situation, do you have a neighbor that you can call that can come right over and help? You can use things like third-party monitoring tools, technology monitoring tools. Bark Technologies has a wonderful monitoring tool that can kind of help you connect and know what's going on all the devices in your home. So you can get notifications about anything potentially dangerous happening on your child's device while you're away at work. And if something's going on, you can send for help right away. Bark kind of takes a screenshot of what's happening on that student's device and emails it or texts it to you, so that you can be aware from wherever you are. Of course, nothing is completely foolproof, but any layered protection is really what we're looking for. In anything safety, we want to layer our protections.
Yeah, it's good to know those resources exist. When we talk about technology, there's been an ongoing conversation for years now, especially in states like Texas and in Florida, where we see a high number of children and pets being left in cars. Talk to us about the conversations that you're having with caregivers and parents about, preventing these incidents from happening. I know, there's a conversation going on among automakers, coming up with some sort of technology or device to alert the driver, hey, you have something in the back seat. But there's also more conversations happening with legislators and elected officials and moms and dads about this very thing.
Of course. And, there's a new study that came out that said that the average age of a car on the road is older than 12 years old. And many cars who are 12 or plus more years old don't have those new technologies in them. So kind of the old school things that we can do is put your cell phone in the back seat. None of us go anywhere without our cell phones. So if you get out of your car and you realize, oh, I don't have my phone, and you go to grab it from your back seat, well, that could save a child or a pet that maybe you've also forgotten in the back seat. Make a plan with daycare or camps to call you immediately if your child is late for any reason. We've seen several situations where that kind of phone call was the life-saving factor for a child. You can even do it with doggy daycare. I mean, if you're supposed to drop your dog off at 8 in the morning and it's 8:05 and they're not there, if you've already given them permission to call you, it could be the life-saving factor, because a car heats up in minutes and can be deadly in simply minutes. You can create checks and balances with your significant other. If you're a 2-parent household, whatever parent is supposed to be dropping off the child, just have that check-in where the other parent texts and says, hey, did everything go okay with drop off? And it's just a reminder that, hey, let's make sure that everybody's safe in the summer. We get busy, we get tired, and we never want to see a tragedy. I do, however, really love the automakers who are starting to create sensors in cars, and even some car makers, like I know Tesla has this, where if it senses something in the car, the AC will stay on and it will make a reminder on your phone as well that you've left something behind.
Yeah, that's really incredible. Okay, great suggestions, wonderful resources. We so much appreciate your time, Sydney, this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you guys need any more resources on anything summer safety or anything safety related, you can go to our website at crime-stoppers.org.
Okay, we appreciate it. Sydney, thank you.